If I told you that silver isn't disappearing, it's being withdrawn, not confiscated, not outlawed, not banned, just quietly removed from your reach. No emergency press conferences, no red headlines screaming silver crisis, no public debate. Yet across the world, something unprecedented is happening. Mints are suspending production. Dealers are being rationed. Delivery times are stretching from weeks into months. And almost no one is asking why, because the story we're told is simple. Supply chain issues, temporary disruptions, nothing to worry about. But history teaches us a dangerous lesson. When governments and institutions stop talking loudly about money, it's because the real decisions are already being made. So here's the mystery we're going to unravel today. Why is physical silver becoming harder to access at the exact moment when debt, currency printing, and geopolitical risk are reaching historic extremes? And more importantly, why does this pattern look disturbingly familiar? Silver's hidden role in the system. To understand what's happening now, we need to rewind. Not decades, but centuries. Silver is one of the oldest forms of money humanity has ever trusted. Long before central banks, long before paper notes, long before digital balances. Silver circulated because it solved three core problems of money. It was scarce, it was divisible, it was real. Empires rose and fell on silver flows. The Roman Empire debased its silver coinage to fund wars. The Spanish Empire flooded Europe with New World silver, triggering inflation. The British Empire relied on silver trade routes to control Asia. Silver wasn't just money, it was power. But in the 20th century, something changed. Governments discovered a more convenient system, paper money backed by trust, not metal. Then, eventually, money backed by nothing at all. Gold was removed from everyday circulation first. Silver followed. By the late 1960s and early 1970s, silver coins vanished from pockets, replaced by cheaper metals and promises. Officially, silver was no longer necessary. Unofficially, silver became dangerous, because silver, unlike fiat currency, cannot be created at will, and systems built on infinite debt cannot tolerate fixed limits. How silver was pushed out of sight. The modern silver market didn't die, it was re-engineered. Instead of citizens holding silver coins, exposure was shifted to futures contracts, paper ETFs, derivatives, unallocated metal claims. Silver ownership became abstract. You didn't need to hold it, you just needed to believe you owned it. This worked, as long as most people never asked for delivery. But here's the first crack in the foundation. For decades, the paper silver market grew far larger than the physical supply backing it. In some estimates, hundreds of paper ounces exist for every real ounce. That's not a market, that's a leverage structure. And leverage works beautifully until confidence breaks. Because the moment enough people demand the real thing, the illusion collapses. Why silver demand began surging again. Now let's fast forward. The 2008 financial crisis shook trust in banks. The 2020 global shutdown shattered faith in supply chains. The post-2020 money printing destroyed confidence in currency stability. Suddenly, silver mattered again, but not just as money. Silver became strategic. It's essential for solar panels, electric vehicles, medical equipment, military electronics, AI hardware, advanced semiconductors. Silver isn't just a store of value anymore, it's an industrial bottleneck. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You cannot rapidly increase silver production. Most silver is mined as a byproduct of other metals. Mining takes years to scale. Ore grades are declining. So while demand surged, supply stayed rigid. At the same time, governments ran record deficits. Central banks printed trillions. Interest rates spiked. This created the perfect storm. People wanted physical assets. Industries needed physical silver. But the system was built on paper claims. That's when the quiet changes began. When the system starts to freeze. This is where the story becomes unsettling. Not dramatic, not explosive, just restrained. Production suspensions, dealer allocations, extended delivery delays. Notice the language. Not we're out, not there's a shortage, but temporary suspension, order limits, extended timelines. This is how systems manage panic, because if authorities admitted a structural problem, confidence would evaporate. Instead, access is throttled, not banned, rationed. Here's why that matters. When you restrict access without raising prices aggressively, you're not responding to demand. You're protecting reserves. And who gets protected first? Governments, industries, military supply chains, strategic stockpiles, not retail investors, not ordinary citizens. This is not a free market response. It's a priority allocation response. And historically, that only happens when something is deemed too important to distribute freely. Who loses when access is quietly removed? The immediate effect is subtle. Retail buyers face delays, premiums rise quietly, availability becomes unpredictable, but the deeper consequences are far more serious. First, price signals break. Paper prices no longer reflect physical reality. Spot prices stay calm while real metal becomes scarce. Second, trust erodes. People realize their silver exposure isn't silver at all, just a claim, a promise, a line in a database. Third, inequality deepens. Those with direct access, large institutions, secure supply. Those without are left chasing scraps. This mirrors every historical monetary transition. When money systems change, insiders exit first. The public is last to know. By the time headlines appear, the game is already over. Why the system can't easily recover? You might be thinking, surely they can just mine more silver. But here's the problem. Mining responds to price signals, not political urgency. Higher prices don't instantly create supply. They create future supply years later. Recycling helps, but it's limited. Substitution is difficult. Silver has unique properties, and most importantly, if silver prices truly reflected scarcity, they would expose the fragility of fiat currencies. So authorities are trapped. Let prices rise, confidence collapses. Suppress prices, shortages worsen. There is no clean solution, only delay. And delay is exactly what we're seeing. This has all happened before history doesn't repeat. But monetary systems rhyme. In the 1930s, gold was restricted to protect the dollar. In the 1960s, silver was removed from coinage quietly. In the 1970s, currencies detached from reality entirely. Each time, access to real money was reduced before the public understood why. The pattern is always the same. Debt expands, trust declines, real assets concentrate, access narrows, rules change. We are somewhere between steps 3 and 4, and that's the most dangerous phase, because it's invisible. Is this about control, not supply? Ask yourself this. If silver were truly insignificant, why manage it so carefully? Why allocate it? Why delay it? Why restrict it quietly instead of openly? The answer may be uncomfortable, because control over scarce resources equals control over systems, energy, food, data, money. Silver sits at the intersection of all four, and systems under stress don't loosen control, they tighten it. 3 takeaways you need to understand take away. Number 1, shortages don't start loud, they start quiet. By the time mainstream headlines acknowledge a crisis, positioning is already complete. The silence is the signal. Takeaway. Figure 2, paper exposure is not the same as physical access. Ownership only matters if delivery is possible. Everything else is a promise. Takeaway. Number 3, monetary transitions always reduce public choice. Every major reset narrows options, not expands them. The earlier you understand the pattern, the more agency you retain. Final warning. This isn't about predicting a price, it's about recognizing a shift. When access to something real becomes harder, not illegal, not dramatic, just restricted, it usually means it's being reclassified as strategic. And strategic assets are rarely meant to be widely owned. The question isn't, is there a silver shortage? The real question is, who is silver being reserved for, and why? If this video made you question assumptions you've never questioned before, then you're exactly the kind of person this channel is for. Subscribe if you want deep dives into money, power, and the hidden mechanics behind global finance. And comment below, do you think this is a temporary disruption or the early stage of something much bigger? Because the most important stories in finance are never the loudest ones. They're the ones unfolding quietly right in front of us.